Your brain and your heart are integrating the loss into your life, okay? So the more that we understand that, the more that we understand that it's completely normal to have a mix of emotions. And we're not going backwards. Our brain and our heart just have some work to do. So it's okay to have days where you're completely happy. It doesn't make you abnormal for feeling okay during a grieving process. I went literally on holiday. I had a holiday booked for a Thursday. My mum died on the Wednesday. My mum would have killed me if I didn't go on that holiday. She would have been fuming if I did not get on that plane. And I lived in her memory. I didn't live in what society says that I should be doing. Like, you shouldn't be able to leave the house because you're so depressed. You shouldn't be able to eat any food because you're so depressed. Like, you should, there's an expectation of a level of feeling you should feel. And if you don't feel it, sometimes that can feel like you're the abnormal one. You're probably gonna have waves. So you'll have waves of pure happiness, then you'll have waves of pure sadness. But if you think about it, isn't that just life in general? Life isn't linear. We always have different stages in life where, we might have a couple of bad days where we're feeling a bit shitty, we don't really want to leave the house, we don't really want to handle the responsibilities that we have for the day, but we have to do them anyway. This is the same as grief. Like, just because you're feeling okay one day doesn't mean that you're fixed. It doesn't mean that the grief is gone. Like, this could be a process that stays with you throughout your life. Again, going back to the toolkit that you need in your mind for when moments like this come up, and you can just dig in and find the relevant bit of information that you need to make you feel okay in that moment. And it's not plastering it, it's changing the way that we think about it. Like, the mix of feelings that you're gonna go through on your grieving journey is completely normal, and it's part of the process. You have to experience all of the emotions. One of the most common questions I get is, how do I grieve? And I just say, by grieving. Don't try and hide away from the pain. Don't try and numb the pain and mask the pain with drugs, alcohol. Like, don't do that, okay? Feel the pain. The only way through the pain is to feel it. That's it. That's all we can do. Have you ever felt like you were doing okay with your grief, and then all of a sudden you're hit by a wave of anger or sadness or a combination of the two? That's completely normal. But I also think that we've been sold a misconception about grief and the fact that it's a series of stages that need to be moved through or completed. In fact, I don't think that's what grief is at all. Hi, my name's Matt. I am a life coach and I specialize in grief support. I want to look at the idea that grief, as much as it has tried to be identified with a set certain amount of stages, a set certain amount of feelings, in this video, I want to try and work on the fact that grief can be a very non-linear process, and it is a very unique and individual experience. The way that I grieved will be massively different to the way you grieved. And as much as we can hone in on a select few feelings, and we can hone in on the sadness, the anger, the guilt, the upset, the aching pain of missing, our journeys are not the same. My aim is to make you feel less alone and more prepared for the journey that's about to come. So we have the stages misconception versus the actual reality. There's different methods out there, but some of them actually focus on the death. They're focusing on the death and they're not focusing on the grief. So there's a lot of models which, as much as they may be useful, they can sometimes be focused on the wrong thing. The feelings of denial, anger, depression, anxiety, sadness, all these things, they can occur, but they're not linear, okay? Like, grief is a messy process. It is a unique to each person process, and it's a unique loss. So it's more like waves in the ocean than a stone on the shore. Like, you have to flow, you have to roll with it. It's not gonna be the same for every person. We have triggers, for example. I have been in a card factory. I am a grown man, okay? As we can all see, like, I'm 6 foot tall, I'm heavily tattooed male. And I can be reduced to tears at somebody buying a Mother's Day card because I don't get to do that anymore. I see these triggers all over the place. I could just see a beautiful sunset and just want to pick the phone up and ring my mum and tell her what's going on, tell her where I am, tell her what's happening. And it's sad that I can't do that. So I have to be equipped with a toolkit in my brain which allows me to tap into it at the moments I need it the most. And this isn't to forget, this isn't to ignore, this isn't to stick a plaster over the wound. This is to reconceive the way that we conceive the information. We are human beings, but we are also bouts of energy, bouts of consciousness, floating on a giant rock in the middle of the universe, and we ultimately think that we matter, and we don't, and that's not a negative thing. People can take that in a negative way. There is a negative connotation to that. However, I believe that that should be exciting. That should make us understand that for every death there is birth. Like, there is always something that feeds from the death. If you look at a whale, I can't remember the exact numbers, but when a whale dies, it gives food, it gives life to about 470 plus life forms. But yet when humans die, because we're conscious about it and we lose something, we focus on the loss. We don't actually focus on the death. The person that's died doesn't know that they're dead. They don't lose anything. They're not upset. They may be upset before they go. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is once they are gone, the grief it's a selfish process. It's about what we lost, about how we feel about what we lost. So what do we do then? We have to practice self-compassion, okay? We need to not be too hard on ourselves on the bad days because they're gonna come. So we just need to be prepared for them. But again, do not put yourself down too much. You need to identify your triggers. Yeah, so we need to be paying attention to what's going on that day that brings on that wave. What is it that made us go back into this state of not so good, okay? The more we understand the triggers, the more we understand the process and what's really going on. Building a support system around you is imperative. You can lean on friends, you can lean on family, and you can have a coach, you can have a therapist. There's so many resources available to you to help you navigate this journey so that you feel a little bit less alone in the process. Develop some coping strategies. Anything that helps you, practicing mindfulness, practicing journaling, meditation, grounding. There is so much to the spiritual world which can help guide you through this process. Focus on integration. We need to integrate this grief into your life now. It's going to be part of who you are and part of your future. The goal isn't to get over the grief. We're not looking for a resolve, we're looking for the integration. Remember that grief is not linear, okay? Whatever you're feeling, whenever you're feeling it, it's completely okay and it is completely normal to be feeling like that. You just have to accept that wherever you are in your process right now, that's exactly where you're meant to be. Ladies and gentlemen, if this video has resonated with you, do me a favor, give the video a like. Also, I want you to share any of the coping mechanisms that you use on your grieving journey in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel for more videos about helping you navigate your grief journey. Also, if you are struggling with grief, there will be a link in the description. That's just going to take you to my landing page. I am not for everybody, not everybody is for me. But if I can be there and help you work through this, I'd love to support you on this journey. Guys, also in the comments, let me know what specifics you want talking about. What is it you can't find? What information are you looking for? Let me know. Maybe I can make a video on that. I'll see you soon.